If you're in your 40s, 50s, or even your 60s, you're definitely aware of the fact that your body isn't quite as robust as it used to be. Exercise is probably harder to bounce back from. Soreness after a workout tends to last a few extra days, and this is all completely normal. You can't expect to feel like you're in your 20s forever, and we do need to accept that reversing aging isn't something that we can do. But what I want to talk about today specifically is muscle loss, and that is at least something we can slow down. And the thing is, with muscle loss, it starts a lot earlier than I think most people realize, and the time to actually start trying to slow it down is as soon as possible. Not when you're in your 60s and you're struggling to do your day-to-day activities. Basically, muscle loss is invisible until it isn't. And when you notice it's gone, it's much harder to resolve the situation. So today I'll be explaining how and why this muscle loss happens, when it actually starts to happen, and most importantly, what you can do right now, no matter your age, to help turn the situation around. So let's go. So I want to start with talking about when this muscle loss actually begins. It's not in your 50s, it's not even in your 40s, it actually begins around the age of 30. And I'm actually turning 30 this month in a few weeks, so this is a topic that is playing on my mind a lot right now, because at 30, I'm trying to think about what I want my life to look like for the next few decades. And while I can't predict anything, I do know that I would like to be able to hold on to my muscle so that I don't have difficulty with just the simple day-to-day activities when I'm a lot older. So while this process of muscle loss starts in your 30s, it is a very slow decline and you won't feel it straight away. It's not like you just wake up one day and you can't carry around your groceries. But from around 30 years old, you do start to naturally lose muscle mass. And if you're wondering how much you lose, well, the research tends to show that without resistance training, most adults lose around 3 to 8% of their muscle each decade. And once you hit 60 years old, that rate can double. It speeds up a lot more. So if you are watching this and you are in your 30s and your 40s and you're thinking, I feel fine though, I'm not weak. That might be true, but it's not just about feeling weak, because year after year, your body composition is changing and it's very hard to notice this change without doing some scans. Your weight as well, that can stay the same, and that's because muscle is usually being replaced with fat. And when that happens, it can turn into something called sarcopenic obesity, which is something I have talked about in previous videos on this channel. And because this is all happening very slowly, most people don't notice until they do hit that tipping point, which is usually in your late 40s or your 50s. You have less energy, you have less balance, and your strength declines become a bit more noticeable. But the processes that started to lead to all these things happening, they started a decade earlier. So what I'm trying to say is that if you are around 30 years old, you are in the perfect window to prevent muscle loss, which is good news for me, I guess. But if you're in your 40s or over, there is still so much you can do to build it back, and I'll be getting to that soon. But first, I do want to just talk about what to be on the lookout for, because there are slight hints that your body gives you as warning signs to let you know that you may be losing some muscle. Now, the big giveaway is if you are struggling with things that used to feel easy. So this would be things like lifting heavy shopping bags, getting up from the floor while sitting down, climbing upstairs. If these things feel harder than they used to be, then it could be a bit of a strength issue that is coming as a result of muscle loss and not just simply getting older. Now, you'll notice you feel more tired than usual and recover more slowly. And this is because muscle supports energy production. And when you do have less muscle, you recover slower from workouts and injuries because it takes energy to drive these recovery processes. Another thing you may notice is potentially your posture changing. And this is because of weakness in the core, hips, or back, which can lead to slouching, feeling stiff, or just having a lack of balance. And one other thing that you might notice is that your weight isn't really changing, but you feel like you are gaining more fat. For example, your waist might be growing, but your arms and legs might be becoming smaller. And this is when you are potentially on the road to experiencing sarcopenic obesity, which quite literally means having more fat but less muscle. And this issue in particular is quite dangerous for metabolic health. It increases the risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, as well as other chronic health conditions. As you can see, muscle loss impacts on just all areas of your health. It's not simply just your strength. So what could be causing this to happen? Well, unfortunately, it is just a normal part of aging, but there are a number of things that people do that can speed this process up. And the first is by not doing any resistance training. Now, cardio is great for your heart, but it doesn't build up as much muscle. And if you aren't lifting, pushing, or pulling against some form of resistance, then you will lose muscle over time. If you aren't eating enough protein as you age, then you won't be able to maintain your muscle. And this is because as you age, your body becomes less efficient at using protein to build muscle. So what actually happens is you need to be consuming more protein to maintain muscle. Now, two big killers of muscle are stress and lack of sleep. And this is because these can keep cortisol levels high, which increases inflammation and leads to breakdown of muscle tissue over time. This isn't an issue if you are stressed for short periods of time, because that's fairly normal. We will go through stressful periods. But if it's chronic and you are always stressed, then your muscle is at risk. Hormones are a huge one as well, especially for women. During the years that lead up to menopause and also after menopause, there is actually a huge drop in estrogen levels, and this speeds up muscle loss too. And the other issue is that a lot of the health problems that people tend to develop as they age, like diabetes, heart disease, these also speed up muscle breakdown. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is that your body is one big connected system, and nothing happens in isolation. It all links together. But here's the good news. Once you know what to look for and what might be causing it, you can change course, because muscle is one of the most adaptable tissues in your body. You can rebuild it at any age with the right strategies. So let's just go through them. The first, and I think the most important, is exercise, specifically resistance training. If you do a lot of cardio, that's great, don't stop that, but cardio alone is not enough to protect your muscle, and in fact sometimes it can eat away at your muscle if you aren't doing things correctly. If you want to stimulate muscle growth, you need to challenge your muscles, because muscle adapts to the conditions that you give it. If you give your muscle resistance to work against, like lifting weights, that forces it to adapt and build some more muscle. So what exactly does that look like then? I'd be aiming for at least 2 to 3 sessions a week of exercises that use resistance. So this means anything from using weights to bands or even just body weight exercises. And you don't need to become a gym bro or anything like that. You can just do simple, consistent training at home or at your local gym, and that can make a huge difference. No matter your age, resistance exercises will help build and protect muscles from loss as you get older. And I cannot emphasize this enough, it is never too late for this. Now, the next very important thing is protein intake. And I don't know if anyone's noticed recently, but the food product space is on a massive protein hit at the moment. Everything seems to be labeling itself as high protein. They're shoving protein in everything these days. And look, as ridiculous as I think it's becoming, protein is very important as we age. And as you get older, you need more protein, not less. So I personally try to aim for anywhere between 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight each day. Do I hit this all the time? No, but some days is better than none. So going off of that, if you weigh about 70 kilos, that's going to be around 85 to 110 grams of protein each day, which can be quite difficult to get in. So again, if you are someone that isn't used to eating a lot of protein, increase it slowly and get some help and assistance if you're having trouble with that. But believe it or not, there are more nutrients that your muscle need beyond protein. The main ones out there, and the ones with actually the most evidence, are creatine, vitamin D, calcium, magnesium, and omega-3s. You don't need to be running to the supplement store and getting all of these but it's a good idea to see if you might be having any deficiencies or if your diet is lacking in any of these, and then supplement only what you need. I'll be going through these nutrients in a bit more depth in a future video, so make sure you're subscribed if you don't want to miss that one. And the last thing that you can do is focus on sleep, stress, and recovery, because these play a large part in protecting your muscles. Make sure you're getting enough sleep, which usually is about 7 hours, but everyone is a bit different. And as I mentioned before, chronic stress literally starts to eat away at your muscles. So make sure you are managing your stress. This one, again, is a lot easier said than done, I know. Resting between workouts is important too. Your body does need time to rebuild its muscles, so don't overdo it with exercise, especially if you are new to the whole thing. So remember, we're focusing on doing a little bit for a long time, and that is the goal with all of the changes that I talk about on this channel. So yes, muscle loss starts pretty early, around 30, not when you're 60 years plus and feeling weaker. And while it's common and it's a natural part of aging, you can slow it down, and sometimes you can reverse it if you are consistent with the changes that you are making. The best time to start is now, whether you're like me, turning 30 this month, or whether you're 40 or you're 70, your muscles will shape how you age, how you feel, how long you stay independent. So they are worth protecting. That's pretty much all I have to say on this topic for now. It is a topic that I sort of bang the drum about a lot on this channel, and it's something I feel is very important, so it's not going to be the last time I talk about it. But I'll see you in the next video, and until then, keep playing the long game.